It began like any other cruise. The Carnival Triumph pulled away from the dock in Galveston, Texas on a sunny February afternoon in 2013. Music played, drinks were flowing, and over 4,000 passengers were ready for 4 days of fun, food, and warm weather. No one could have imagined that within 48 hours, they'd be living in a nightmare. They didn't know how the ship would lose power, or that they'd be stranded in the middle of the ocean, or that 5 days straight they'd be living in sewage-soaked hallways without flushing toilets or working air conditioning. They didn't know that this cruise would go down in history as the poop cruise from hell. It all started on day 3, just as Triumph was heading back from Mexico. At 5:28 a.m. on Sunday, February 10th, passengers were woken up by an emergency alarm. Carnival's Alpha Team fire code was announced over the loudspeakers.
Attention! Alpha Team! Alpha Team! Alpha Team!
Thick smoke filled parts of the lower decks. Guests rushed out of their rooms, grabbing life jackets, panicking, unsure of what was happening.
Folks, there's no need to be at the muster stations. We do ask at this time that you proceed back to your staterooms, back to your cabins. As I say, there is a situation in the engine control room, in the engine room, but it is under control. So we do ask that you please make your way back to your cabins at this time. There's no need to be waiting in the muster stations. Thank you.
A fire broke out in the engine room. It was quick, violent, and enough to knock out the ship's entire power system. No one was hurt, thankfully, but the fire had taken everything down. The engines, the lights, the air conditioning, the sewage pumps. That's when everything started falling apart. People tried to stay calm at first, but then they realized the toilets had stopped working. No flushing, no drainage. The smell started creeping in almost immediately. And without power, there was no ventilation to move the air. The heat built up, the air got thick, and the hallway started to stink. It didn't take long before people were handed red biohazard bags and told to use those instead of the bathrooms.
We're going to deliver some red bags to your cabins, to the bathrooms if you can. If you need to do a number 2, you need a poop, please do it in the red bag and drop it off in the bins, in the corridors. And if you need to do a number 1, that's a wee, please do it in the shower. Thank you, folks, and I'll be back with any more updated info.
People were using the restroom in little red plastic bags and throwing them out into the hallway.
We were in shock. We were like, I'm not using a red bag.
The thing is you just don't eat.
Literally, go in the bag, tie it off, and leave it outside your cabin. That's how they were handling human waste. Some people used buckets, others used plastic-lined showers, some just squatted behind makeshift curtains on the open deck. When desperation hits, dignity becomes negotiable, and with thousands of people on board, the waste piled up fast. In the lower decks, sewage started backing up into the cabins. Water pooled across the floors. The carpet was soaked and reeked. Walking down a hallway meant wading through filthy puddles and the overpowering smell of rot and waste. People fled their cabins and started sleeping outside on the upper decks just to escape the stench. But outside wasn't much better. During the day, the sun beat down relentlessly and people had no shade. They tried to build little tents using towels and pool chairs. At night, it got cold. There weren't enough blankets. People huddled together, wrapped in whatever they could find. And then there was the food. With the refrigerator down, most of the perishable supplies had to be thrown out. What was left was handed out in small rations. Things like dry cereal, mustard sandwiches, or a single slice of tomato. People waited in long lines for hours just to get a plate of barely edible food. Some shared what little they had. Others fought over it. Tempers flared. People were scared, hungry, tired. The crew did their best, but they were overwhelmed. There were no working loudspeakers, no updates came through a bullhorn. Most of the time, it felt like no one really knew what was going on. Back on land, the news started to spread. The story caught fire. Helicopters flew overhead capturing footage of the ship adrift. Passengers held up signs begging for help. We need food. Help us. Send TP. Carnival sent tugboats to tow the ship to Mobile, Alabama. But it was slow. What should have been a short tow became a multi-day journey. The ship crawled toward the shore at walking speed while passengers suffered on board. For 5 days they floated, sweating, stinking, surviving. Rumors started flying. Some people said passengers were getting sick. Others claimed Carnival was hiding how bad things really were. Paranoia set in. People grouped up, watched each other, looked for clean corners of the ship where they could breathe and rest. But even in the middle of the mess, some people tried to hold on to humanity. Crew members gave up their own meals. Strangers shared snacks. Someone brought out a guitar and played music to lift spirits. People adapted. That's what humans do when everything else collapses.
This is one of the guys that's been down at the charging stations where we charge everything. This is his vacation home.
Yeah, that's my daughter's thoughts.
Having a sick and...
That's the thoughts of a 7-year-old. You guys take it easy.
Thanks, you too. This is the library, people.
This is the real library. We're staying in the other room that everybody thinks is a library.
This is library people.
Huh? We have fake books in ours. They're just fake, but that's okay.
Wednesday the 13th. 2013.
There's the awesome crew. There's some more of our wonderful crew that has done such a great job.
They tried to make it livable, somehow. Finally, after 5 full days adrift, they reached land. February 14th, Valentine's Day. Thousands of passengers poured out of the ship with their belongings stuffed into red trash bags. Some were smiling, some were crying, and he just looked exhausted. Carnival gave them refunds, a credit toward a future cruise, and $500. But to a lot of people, that didn't even come close. The story became a case study in what can go wrong at sea, and it changed the industry. Cruise lines reviewed their emergency protocols, power backup systems, sanitation plans, communication structures. The Triumph wasn't just a bad cruise, it was a wake-up call. Today, cruising is cleaner, safer, better prepared. But the memory of that week still lingers, because it showed just how thin the line is between comfort and chaos. At sea, you're not in control, the ship is, and when the ship fails, so does everything else. That's what happened aboard the Carnival Triumph. That's what turned a vacation into a survival story, and no one who was on board will ever forget it.